Get ready for the big news. We start tonight with the Michigan gubernatorial race heating up as former Attorney General Mike Cox, businessman Perry Johnson, State Senate Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt, and Pastor Ralph Rabant weigh in on crucial issues like data centers and infrastructure at a packed forum in Lansing. They tackle everything from government transparency to the future of housing, and you won't want to miss their takes on how Michigan will move forward.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This ALEN 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Next up, we dive deep into the booming world of technology and energy. We explore how the explosive growth in artificial intelligence within data centers is creating massive demand for copper and putting serious pressure on global prices. This report breaks down the staggering statistics on these massive projects across Latin America and the sheer scale of the industry reshaping our supply chains. Then, we shift focus to local action as Provo City Council makes a major move to control the future of data centers right in their backyard. We look at the specific amendments approved by the council that will cap data center sizes at 50 megawatts, ban certain power generation methods, and enforce strict water usage rules, signaling a major shift in how large tech facilities can operate in the community. Finally, we look ahead to the future of data centers across the nation with an important public meeting scheduled in Baltimore County. Officials are gathering to discuss regulations, utility strain, and resident concerns as they work on a comprehensive report. Don't miss this critical discussion on how local communities are fighting for control over this growing industry. Stay with us for the full story. Michigan's gubernatorial contenders engaged in a spirited discussion on critical issues including data centers, dam safety, and government transparency at a conference hosted by the Michigan Press Association. The panel, held at the Michigan State University Kellogg Center, featured former Attorney General Mike Cox, businessman Perry Johnson, State Senate Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt, and Pastor Ralph Rabant, joined by Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson. The discussion took place amidst speculation regarding the upcoming gubernatorial race, as the mansion is slated to receive a new tenant next year. Moderated by Detroit News reporter Craig Modger, the forum addressed a wide spectrum of topics. Modger noted the absence of several prominent figures, including U.S. Rep. John James, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, and former Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, whose representatives cited prior commitments. Republican candidates frequently criticized Benson throughout the event. A key focus was the promise to open the governor's office to Freedom of Information Act requests, a pledge made by Whitmer in 2018, but not fully implemented. All 5 candidates affirmed this commitment, though Swanson added caveats regarding public safety and national security. Swanson, Nesbitt, and Rabant strongly opposed non-disclosure agreements, with Rabant asserting that any administrator signing such an agreement would face immediate termination via executive order. All participants also supported public notices in newspapers. The conversation shifted to data centers, revealing differing approaches. Cox and Swanson suggested that local communities should determine the viability of development projects independently, whereas Johnson and Nesbitt advocated for regulatory reform. Only Rabant expressed outright opposition to data centers, citing environmental and noise concerns. Regarding affordable housing, candidates offered varied solutions. Johnson, Nesbitt, and Rabant reiterated support for tax cuts. Cox focused on reforming building codes and application deadlines to boost supply. Swanson proposed housing co-ops as a potential solution, referencing past developments in Marquette. When addressing the compatibility of tax cuts with infrastructure expenses, such as those stemming from recent flooding and stressed dams, opinions diverged. Swanson argued these concepts were incompatible, suggesting preventative action could save money. Rabant and Cox supported increased local government initiative and stricter oversight for privately owned dams, believing a reformed budget could coexist with tax reductions. Johnson emphasized spending discipline, while Nesbitt centered his response on the cost of living. artificial intelligence growth within data centers is creating a significant surge in demand for copper, putting upward pressure on commodity prices. This trend is being fueled by the massive infrastructure build-out required to support advanced AI computing capabilities globally. The impact of this demand is substantial, driving a critical need for raw materials in the technology sector. In the Latin American region, this demand is particularly pronounced, evidenced by the activity of over 11,000 projects. The economic ecosystem supporting this growth is robust, with more than 24,000 global companies actively engaged in business within the region. Furthermore, there is a dense network of influence, encompassing over 83,000 key contacts related to both companies and ongoing projects. Industry intelligence remains accessible through comprehensive resources, offering analysis, reports, news, and interviews across English, Spanish, and Portuguese, providing stakeholders with deep insights into this rapidly evolving market dynamic. The Provo City Council has approved significant code amendments aimed at restricting the development of large data centers within the city limits. The amendment, passed by a 5-1 vote, introduces several key restrictions designed to mitigate potential environmental and infrastructural impacts. The primary change caps the size of permitted data centers at 50 megawatts. This limit is directly tied to Utah's University of Nevada, Reno, UMPA requirements, which mandate that data centers exceeding 50 megawatts must generate their own on-site power. Councilman Travis Hoban stated that this restriction will reduce operational issues such as noise and the need for extensive backup generators. Furthermore, the amendments mandate that data centers must utilize non-evaporative cooling technologies and prohibit the discharge of water into municipal wastewater systems. The city also removed the requirement for third-party environmental analysis for data centers over 5 megawatts, deeming it unnecessary given the prohibitions on major air pollutant and water use sources. When questioned by Councilwoman Becky Bogdan regarding the necessity of further code cleanup, if final approval rests with the council's discretion, Provo Planning and Sustainability Coordinator Hannah Saltzel clarified that the new code sets clear parameters for developer proposals. Saltzel emphasized that if the city is hesitant about on-site power generation, that should be made clear up front. This policy shift follows a previous decision by the council to reject a rezoning request for a closed-loop data center in the East Bay neighborhood, which had the potential to scale up from 5 megawatts. The council cited the need to finalize its economic master plan before making long-term land use decisions. The policy change is intended to ensure that future data center development in Provo remains on a small scale compared to larger facilities in the state. This is particularly relevant given the recent news of a massive 9-gigawatt AI data center approval in Box Elder County, which reportedly totals 9,000 megawatts. Saltzel noted that limiting Provo's capacity to 50 megawatts places it in a more manageable context amid growing data center infrastructure across the region. Baltimore County officials have scheduled a public input meeting to address the future of data centers in the county. The meeting is set for May 21 in Towson, at 105 West Chesapeake Ave, in hearing room 104. The Baltimore County Planning Board will convene at 4:45 p.m., with the public input session running from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Residents are invited to provide feedback on proposed data center regulations through in-person attendance, written testimony, or virtual participation. Interested individuals must register by emailing Taylor Bensley at tbensley@baltimorecounty.gov. Each speaker will be allotted 2 minutes for their feedback. This public session is a key component of the Planning Board's effort to draft a comprehensive data center report for the Baltimore County Council, which officials are required to submit by October 1. The push for this review comes as the county has previously implemented a temporary freeze on data center permits due to concerns over potential negative impacts on residents, specifically regarding rising utility costs and strain on energy and water resources. This regulatory scrutiny follows earlier discussions where the county council had supported plans for a 42-acre, 150-megawatt data center in the Woodlawn area of western Baltimore County, with construction projected to begin as early as June. Current county law mandates that data centers must be situated east of Pulaski Highway and south of Liberty Road.